Hi listener, this is an episode from our archive. We originally interviewed Hans Peter in June 2020, and we thought that with the recent release of Nordic Business Forum documentary, it would be good to offer these behind the scenes of the learnings that Hans Peter got in his entrepreneurial journey. In this episode, we discuss with him the things he learned from Jack Welch and Jim Collins, what does it take to succeed as an entrepreneur, and how the digital world creates more opportunities. We hope you will enjoy the show. Have fun. Hello and a warm welcome to the Nordic Leadership Network podcast. This new episode sees as a guest Hans Peter Siefen. Hello, Hans Peter.
Hi, great to be here.
Nice to have you here. And then we have as co-hosts Nick Vertigans from our network. Hello, Nick.
Good afternoon, Stefano. Good afternoon, gents.
And then we also have David Goddard, also from our network. Hello, David.
Hi there. How are you doing, everybody, today?
I think everyone is doing good. We were discussing in the moments before starting recording about the good weather in Finland, and we have Hans Peter from his boat live, which is great. So I would start asking you a few questions, Hans Peter. So you are the founder of the most relevant business conference in the Nordic, which is Nordic Business Forum, which was started 11 years ago. And NBF has events in Finland, Sweden, Norway. So it covers pretty well the whole Nordic. And we assume then that you have quite a good outlook of this part of the world, at least. And you were asking why we wanted you on the podcast. And that's exactly the reason why we wanted you here. You also have been an entrepreneur for more than 15 years, achieved remarkable success with NBF, which hosts quite a lot of people every time and more every time. You've met great leaders from all around the world. Arnold Schwarzenegger, almost a regular nowadays at NBF, Sir Richard Branson, Simon Sinek, and the next edition will see Yuval Harari as a guest. So we were wondering, what is the thing that you learned from all these guys that really stuck with you all these years?
Generally speaking, having met the people whom you mentioned by name as an example, I think the thing that has really impressed me is that, let's say almost, not everyone, but almost every one of these magnificently successful people are easy to cope with. And I think that has been an important lesson to learn. Also, very seldom there has been anyone who has been difficult, but it's really important to be easy and definitely not a diva, which I've learned from these magnificent, humble people, and need to just try to stay humble as well as they have done. And that's very important in life. About humbleness, I've also learned a lot from Jim Collins, but regarding this, something that comes to my mind is a cup of tea a day before he spoke at Nordic Business Forum in 2014 at his hotel in Helsinki. And at that meeting, that short cup of tea, he basically described to me what business we are in, what business Nordic Business Forum is in, which was interesting to hear from someone like Jim Collins. And that became a new version of our mission statement as well, which is building leaders. That was what Jim Collins said. It's a bit longer in our words, building leaders who change the world. But I think Jim Collins really phrased it well. You are building leaders, and that's the single most important thing you can do for the society, because hard to imagine anyone contributing in a more meaningful way to the society than building good leaders. From Jack Welch, I think I learned a huge deal. Jack Welch passed away, I think it was 1st of March this year. And still this year I sent him one email, or was it late last year, to which he again responded as always, very politely and interested about how things are going in our end. I learned a lot from him about HR, the importance of growing your people, and having a clear focus on that, as well as really a lot of other things also behind the scenes during a dinner with him and so forth. Well, one pretty recent thing I learned was at last year's event in Sweden, in Stockholm, from Marco Bertini, who spoke about the shift from selling products to selling value. And actually, I shared a recording from his speech with my brother, because there was a point I wanted to suggest to my brother as a possible business idea. And he actually got interested in it, and he made his thesis at the University of Applied Sciences on that topic. And then later on, now they founded a company on that idea together with some of his friends. So a lot of big ideas come from these, and I've been really lucky to be able to work in this kind of an industry.
Sounds a fantastic experience that you have had there. And as we know, ideas are only as good as we are able to implement them. So that's where entrepreneurship comes into the picture.
Yes, definitely so. I have always tried to pay personally a lot of focus on the implementation and really working in a structured way towards implementing some of the lessons that we have learned. Not everything, of course, just the ones that really stick, and which kind of sometimes are also contradicting what you thought was good and true for yourself.
That's incredible. Hans Peter, it sounds like you've had some of the best coaching and some of the best training on the planet. And you've talked about Jim Collins and Jack Welch and other really top names, global names. So yes. Thinking about all that feedback and perspective that you've had, how would your team describe you as a leader?
I think I'm not too good of a leader. You should do a different podcast with some of our team members and ask. But I'm definitely not the best leader in the world. I've been struggling to become better and also give some of that responsibility to other people as well. I think the biggest challenges for myself in business during these 10-11 years with Nordic Business Forum have been really about leadership, about how to be worth of your people. And when I have had some moments where I've not felt too good, those have mostly been cases in which I've felt that I'm not necessarily worthy the leadership position I have or the role in which I have in the organization. So yeah, that has been the most frequent reason why I have maybe stayed up during the night times during these 11 years because of work-related issues.
Yeah, I'm sure you've, as we all have, we've had a few sleepless nights. I'm sure you have too, maybe just before one of your massive events. But what I'm hearing from you is a very humble leader. So using the same word that Jim Collins used, or you used to describe Jim Collins. And I heard that you have been empowering other people. But thinking about some of these great guests, and I know that David and Stefano have benefited from your events across the Nordic region, and we've seen some great speakers, some great people delivering incredible messages. What's been your favorite?
My favorite speaker out of all whom we have had?
Yeah.
That would be Jack Welch. Not only on stage, definitely on stage as well. Also, I think he's still the third all-time highest rated speaker by our customers at our events in Helsinki or Finland. Or actually, Jack Welch did not speak in Helsinki. He spoke in Jyväskylä, where Nordic Business Forum was organized for the first 4 years. But yeah, Jack Welch would be my answer. But of course, there is a lot from others, a lot of big favorites. one very recent one, well, if that's so recent, but I really loved Aswath Damodaran in 2018. That was something that really impressed me, especially his content and presentation. I did actually not speak to him outside of the stage in person, but some for different reasons. Like in Jack's case, he really stood out also off stage for myself at least.
Quite an important connection for you. So Hans Peter, maybe if we could just take you back to the 2003, 2008 phase. You worked as a solo entrepreneur, and you've written that was the most significant time for you, significant learning time to understand the fundamentals of business and entrepreneurship and leadership and so forth. What would you tell somebody who is maybe starting out as an entrepreneur today in 2020?
That's a good question. Actually, I think I maybe learned even more about sales and entrepreneurial mindset than about business or leadership during those years before Nordic Business Forum came about. But yes, I think those are really important topics to learn in life and for anyone's career, and especially if one even thinks about becoming an entrepreneur. And one of the most important things which I think I developed during those years was a thick enough skin, which you will basically grow, which basically grows your ability to tolerate rejections, and you only grow it through being rejected, which happens a lot in sales, as an example, and you really need it to succeed long term, or even short term. The beginning will usually be always very hard. It takes a lot to go over it, and long term as well. Developing a thick enough skin to be able to tolerate rejections is an absolutely crucial thing for any entrepreneur to become successful.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to relate to that on this call, and I'm sure many people listening to this as well. But how did you do that, Hans Peter? How did you develop that thick skin? This tolerating rejection. It is a process, isn't it? How did you manage that? How did you kind of get over it?
Yeah, I guess some people have a different personality, so that you can take in them easier than others. I'm not sure, but I really think it's about attitude and so forth. But I really think there is no shortcuts there. Of course, you need to realize that each rejection grows you, and you learn from those, and you really need those to become better and so forth. But I think there is no shortcuts. You just need to get enough of them to grow the skin, and not to be basically thinking about quitting too easily in the future or whatever. So you just need to be faced with hundreds of rejections to grow the skin, and some really disappointing rejections as well, which will happen to anyone, or I've at least not met anyone who succeeded without it. So the earlier you can learn it, the earlier you can develop that skin, the better I feel. And for that reason, I would say that it's a good choice early on in someone's studies or career to if possible, to try out a sales job, or maybe some kind of a other job in customer service or somewhere else where you really need to face rejections. And well, in customer service, maybe difficult customers sometimes, and I don't know, but there is no shortcuts, I believe. So you just need to go through it and experience it hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times.
Yeah, I agree. And I think maybe a future topic for this podcast could be failure and rejection and building that capacity and taking one's medicine and getting stronger. So I think
I remember when we talked quite some time ago, Hans Peter, and I think I asked you something along the lines of what was the secret of NBF success, and then you simply said lots of hard work, lots of hard sales. So those were the words which I remember.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember those very same words, but it makes sense. I think that's definitely something I would have answered. On top of that, relating to the hard work in both cases, sales and developing the product and the business model, but it is important at the same time always to really have passion for the service or the product that with which you create value for your customer. You need to have a big passion for it. Yeah, and you need to succeed with it, and neither part is easy. It's not easy to acquire customers, nor it's not easy to keep them either. Both of them are a lot of hard work and a matter of luck, partly, of course, always as well. So a very simplified formula for growth for any business or companies is that you do a lot of hard work. You do hard work with sales. You acquire new customers and succeed with it thanks to the hard work, but also that you can keep the customers you have, so that you basically you meet the expectations, and not only meet the expectations, but you exceed expectations, and that's how you keep your customers.
Great, thanks, Hans Peter. David, what have you heard?
Sounds like a lot of the wisdom from the live events and the online events, as I can hear it floating around on Hans Peter's boat there. So very, very smart comments. Actually, Hans Peter, you just mentioned the business model, and it seems such a shame to take you out of this nice environment where we can see you sat there for our listeners, that Hans Peter is sitting on his boat, and I can see the shore rocking in the background behind you. But if we go out of the boat environment just for a second, the current pandemic has basically turned a lot of things upside down, and the business model in NBF has been about bringing thousands of people together under the same roof, and that obviously has not been a good business model for any of us on this call over the last 3-4 months. You've done some great pivots already. I'd like to hear something a little bit about those, but also how do you see the future in your business of building leaders who change the world?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's an interesting period of time being in a business which is forbidden, as mass events are forbidden, and I don't know how long that will last, and when will we actually have the next large-scale physical event? But there will be a time when that will be a reality. No one knows exactly when. The development currently with the disease here in Northern Europe and Europe otherwise as well is very positive. So maybe we are headed towards that kind of situation. I hope sooner than later. But I also believe that the online events, online learning in other ways as well, has now entered for good, if it didn't do so already before this pandemic. I discussed with Henkka Hyppönen, the author and coach, the Finnish well-known TV personality as well, the other day via email, and Henkka actually wrote in the email that he believes that after all of this is all over, people will actually realize how big is the difference in between a physical and a digital event, and they will wish to, even more than before, to attend in person as well. And I think that could be true, but I also wrote Henkka that I do believe that that these digital online events, etc., they have come to stay now. and there is a big role for them. They will grow. I believe they will continue to grow, and they will stay also after the physical events kick in again. Depends on the organizer and all, but I think many will live in a new hybrid world where you have both online events and you have offline physical events as well, and both will have a big role. For us, this has been, I think, I hope in long run a beneficial experience, so to say, because the speed of innovation in the digital part of our business and seeing more opportunities in it when forced to do so also partly has really made us so much more creative and better in terms of developing the digital offering that we have, and I believe that's really good for the long term, even if overall our business suffers a great deal this year and probably maybe still next year as well. So I believe long term this has been really good, and I also feel that we have we are taking advantage of it. We are using the time to really innovate and grow something that didn't exist before.
Great. So I think that we're in the business of building leaders too, and I think that we're seeing very much the same thing. I believe there will be this pent-up demand for the live events, but we're also planning that there won't be. So we're keeping the options open.
Yes.
Is there anything you can tell us about next year then? Any peek into the future? Who's the kind of like number one guest that you're chasing down for?
Yeah, I don't think I can tell you much due to all of this uncertainty in the air right now.
Yeah.
So I hope things will start clearing up soon. What I can tell is that we will continue to provide our customers and everyone interested with great value for leadership and entrepreneurship and business building lessons and online events. I think offline in-person events as well. Definitely, if not late this year, then at least next year or whenever the disease allows us to do so. So, but yeah, I'm sorry, but due to all of this uncertainty, I don't think I can promise you anything much.
Hey, I was just
today.
I was just fishing, as probably you will be later this afternoon.
Who would you like to see, David?
Oh, well, actually, I'm really looking forward to Harari in this coming autumn. That's he's definitely top of my list. So.
Yeah, he's top of many people's list.
Yeah,
and he's quite current with all of his work now during the pandemic and his donations for the WHO and all of the wonderful things he has done now in this period. So there is even more interest towards him now than before the pandemic, I think.
I know he spends 4 weeks every year in silent retreat. I hope it's not one of those weeks that he's coming to Helsinki.
Well, at least he has not cancelled, at least himself, that he would be coming in September. We'll see. I think we will know very soon whether September will be possible for an event or not. I think that will be very soon. But if not then definitely as soon as possible after it.
So the rest of the summer for you, I guess you're going to be spending a bit more time on the boat with the family.
I hope so. I hope so, definitely. I'll be going for a boat trip with my father and my 2 older children, ages of 3 and 5, over the weekend, and I hope we will get to do a lot of that during the summer. But also, of course, need to stay alert with what happens with the event in September and how to really be agile in this moment of disruption and innovation.
We wish you all the best.
You too. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Hans Peter. And I think we heard a lot of insights into what makes good entrepreneurship, good leadership, and good business at the same time. And really, I reiterate that I sensed a lot of humbleness, which really warms up our hearts, I guess. I mean, we still are talking about one of the biggest events, if not the biggest event in the Nordics when it comes to bringing business leaders together, which represent billions of euros of revenues and sales. And it's refreshing to hear that all of these guys are in the hands of such a nice person.
Well, not just me, but many others in our organization. But thanks for those wonderful words.
Thank you, Hans Peter. I heard humility and a thick skin. So if you put those two together, it seems a winning combination. Thank you for a great interview.
Thank you.
Till next time. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey listener, it's Stefano here. Since you got until here, we think that you might like the podcast. It would mean so much if you could leave us a 5-star review and share this with as many of your friends as possible. This will help us be discovered and spread the news. Can you just take 5 minutes and do that for us? Thank you.